So I might have to replace my camera with this webcam. What's up everybody, Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews here, and today we are checking out the Meet 2 from OBSBOT. This is an AI-powered 4K webcam that packs a lot into its little body, and it's a brand new release from OBSBOT. So let's check it out. So diving into it, the Meet 2 is the newest member of the OBSBOT Meet series, and it packs quite a punch. They did send it to me for review, however that does not change my opinion on it. This is an AI-powered 4K webcam, and we'll dive into a little bit more of what makes it an AI camera in just a little bit, but we're gonna start out with the specs and features first. Starting off, this thing is really small. It's touted as the smallest 4K webcam on the market, and it's actually smaller than my AirPods case. It measures 56 millimeters by 44 millimeters by 32 millimeters and weighs in at just 72 grams. The Meet 2 comes in 3 colors: cloud white, space gray, and aurora green. Mine is the space gray to match my Apple lineup that it'll be paired next to when you see some of my B-roll footage of it. The compact design really reminds me of some of GoPro's earlier generations, but this makes it actually really practical for a webcam. And thanks to its magnetic mount, it fits onto your laptop or monitor without adding to bulk, which makes it great for on-the-go use. However, it does not come with a way to protect it while traveling, and that's something I'll dive into more in just a little bit. But what's cool about it is that you can even mount it upside down using the 1/4" thread so that you can work with any setup or shooting angle, and we'll dive into how the software allows for that in just a little bit. It's supposed to also include a magnetic privacy cover to place over the lens, but unless I'm using the stand incorrectly, I don't actually think it was included in the box, and I think that might have been an accident. Now diving into the camera's quality, this is where the rubber really hits the road, because the Meet 2 comes with a 1/2" CMOS sensor and a 1.8 aperture, so it can let a ton of light in, and this makes it really great for those low light scenarios. Even in low light conditions, you're getting clearer and brighter images, and if you're a game streamer, this is a big deal, because then you won't have to worry about how your stream looks when the lights are low, because typically anyone streaming is going to have a lot of RGB effects and they want to have their lights really dim, and because of that they need a camera that can let in a lot of light and capture all of that detail in really high quality, and this Meet 2 does a really good job of that. It also even supports HDR technology, so whether you're streaming or recording or video conferencing, this camera adapts to various lighting conditions very well, and I really like to see how it functions in that regard. As for resolution, it offers up to 4K at 30 FPS or 1080p at 60 FPS. Every frame from what I've seen so far is crystal clear, which is perfect for video conferencing, live streaming, podcasting, or really any other video content creation that you can think of. I have a podcast with my friends Christopher from Cozy Christopher and Carl from Techful Goodies, and this will now be my camera for that podcast. It's great for a desk setup because it doesn't take up any space, but it has really good quality. But if you're interested in that podcast, it's called Control-Alt-Discuss, and you can find a link in the description if you'd like to listen to us over at that podcast channel. But if you combine all of that with the precise and fast autofocus powered by the PDAF technology, then you've got yourself a webcam that really makes sure you stay sharp and detailed in every frame. But there are some drawbacks in the AI and how it features you in frame that I definitely want to talk about in just a little bit. Okay, so right now I'm going to be showing you footage that's kind of going back and forth between the Meet 2 and then the Canon R8. Now the Canon R8 is filmed on a 6K sensor that is downsampled to a 4K, so it's just going to have much better quality overall, but I want you to take a look at how good the 4K quality is of the Meet 2. Now obviously it's not going to have the same lens quality as like an actual mirrorless camera would, and it's not going to have the same type of bokeh. As you can see, the natural bokeh on the Canon R8 from the 1.8 aperture of the lens is going to be much better than any type of, there's no bokeh at all actually on the Meet 2. Now I can actually add that so we can see what it would look like. This is the artificial bokeh added with the software from OBSBOT. You can still see the kind of issues right here around my face, but I mean, I think overall, from an overall image quality, it's really not that bad from what you would get for a webcam. Obviously it's not going to compare to an actual camera, but it's really fantastic the kind of quality that you see, and I have the settings about as close as you can get them to the Canon R8. It's just a really good camera. That's what the problem is. But overall, I think the Meet 2 looks really good, but I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of the quality whenever you compare them? Another really cool feature about the Meet 2 is it has a built-in dual omnidirectional microphone with noise reduction and audio gain control. These mics are designed to keep your voice really clear even in a noisy environment. So if you're working in a busy office or streaming from home with background noise, then it should be able to separate your voice and keep the sound focused on you. I'm going to show some footage really quick of an AC unit running in the background and me just talking through the Meet 2's mic so you can get an idea for yourself. So right now I'm testing the omnidirectional microphones to see how it sounds with noise cancellation. So I actually have an AC unit a window unit running in the background right now. It's probably going to sound a little echoey because I'm probably a good 3 feet away from the mic on the Meet 2, but if I get a little bit closer, like if you would use it like on a laptop or a computer monitor that's closer to you, this might give you a better representation of how the sound is on this. I listened to it before I checked this out, so I didn't think it was that bad actually. I think it's actually a pretty solid microphone, so if you're going to be out in a public space, I think it can do an alright job of canceling out noise. Let me know in the comments below how you think it sounds, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what it sounds like in an open room like this with something going on in the background. Now for me personally, I will say that I'm not going to use these mics very often, as I do like to have a dedicated mic for my podcast and calls, but it is nice to know that it's not just a camera but a fully functioning webcam for any scenario. So if you travel with it and you take it to like a coffee shop or somewhere where there's going to be a lot of ambient background noise, I would like to see how much it's actually going to be able to cut out all that noise, because it is designed to do that. But let's talk about the AI that I mentioned before. The Meet 2 is not just about high resolution and audio, but it does also leverage advanced AI algorithms for real-time detection with a goal of making sure you are always perfectly framed. Now, that's one of the bullet points for this camera, but I don't think that it's perfect, and I'll explain why in just a little bit. But whether you're in portrait or landscape mode, the AI auto framing features really try to make sure you stay centered and well framed, even when multiple people are actually in the shot. And it's definitely not perfect, but hopefully we will see improvements with future software updates. In landscape mode, you've got great options to use things like close-up mode that allow you to focus on your face and capture a lot of detail with really good clarity, or you can switch to upper body mode for more dynamic presentations. And when you're in group mode, the camera automatically adjusts to frame as many people to enter or leave the shot. This is actually incredible for video meetings where participants are coming and going out of the shot. And then looking at portrait mode, which is vertical format, it adjusts for you, ensuring that whether you're standing or sitting, your whole body or upper body is framed just right. This is a really good feature for live streaming on platforms like TikTok or Instagram, where portrait orientation is really important to take note of. It's a really nice feature for this to have. And one of the things I really like about the Meet 2 is its versatility. It's definitely not a one-trick pony. It's designed for multiple shooting scenarios because you can choose between portrait and landscape mode depending on what you're doing, and you can even flip it upside down as it has inversion detection that will auto-rotate your image. This level of flexibility is actually quite rare on a webcam, and it makes it a great tool for content creators who need to be able to adapt to certain situations. And it's especially great for like a podcast setting where if you want each person to have their own specific camera on them, it's such a small form factor, you can easily fit several of these cameras on one table pointed at each person. And when we get into the software here in just a little bit, you'll see how amazing it is to actually have multiple cameras in the software. Now, one area that I will say is a lot of concern for people when it comes to purchasing a webcam is privacy from that actual camera. Aside from the magnetic privacy cover that mine did not come with, you can activate auto sleep mode with the OBSBOT Center software, where you can configure the sleep time and background. And you can also set the background to black, choose a built-in image, or even upload a custom image, so when you're not using the camera, it's not watching you either. Or because the magnetic mount is so easy to use, you can just point the camera down and that way it can't even see you. Now, shifting gears for the next point, one of the best features of this camera is not actually even the camera itself, but the software. The OBSBOT Center software is really what elevates the entire experience of using the Meet 2. It is super easy to set up and seamlessly integrates with the camera. With the software, you can activate features like AI auto framing, autofocus, bokeh, and beauty mode. And you can even quickly crop in while maintaining image quality thanks to the 1/2-inch sensor size. And some of the really cool options also include the ability to individually morph features of your face on the fly using its AI technology, which makes it really kind of a mini studio type of setup. But touching back on something I mentioned earlier about the multi-camera setup, the software does not just stop with one camera. If you're using multiple cameras, the OBSBOT Center allows for seamless switching and control between devices. This is really nice for someone who needs to operate different cameras during a live stream or video conference. You can switch back and forth between them effortlessly without missing a beat, which is really important if you're trying to maintain a professional presentation. So if you think of someone who's running a studio setup from a podcast who's not actually on camera and just controlling who is talking, that's a great way to look at it. Or there's some streamers that use multicam setups where with their Stream Deck, they can actually switch back and forth between different camera angles. Speaking of which, that's a really nice integration piece with the software and the camera. So for those who even like to take it a step further with their customization on their streaming setups, the Meet 2 does support Open Sound Control, or OSC, and Global Hotkey. It's compatible with the Elgato Stream Deck, which allows you to change settings without actually going into the software once you set the proper macros up. I actually use a Stream Deck for my editing, and it's nice to find another use for it because I love that product, even though I've never actually reviewed it on this channel. But with just the press of a button, you can control multiple aspects of your stream or presentation, and that really actually enhances the value of the Meet 2 and makes it really powerful. Now, as always, I like to talk about what I like about it and then what I don't like about it or what could be improved. So starting out with the pros, the crystal clear quality at 4K FPS is really, really nice. It's hard to believe this level of quality is coming from such a small device, and that just kind of shows where we're at with technology nowadays, especially camera technology. I feel like GoPro really led the charge on image quality from small cameras, and the fact that it even kind of looks like one kind of makes sense, but I'm excited to see this type of technology spread into other areas of tech outside of just action cameras. Another thing I like is that the OBSBOT Center software is just a major highlight. This video is actually more about the Meet 2 than the software, but I was just so impressed with OBSBOT software that I definitely want to highlight it. It's intuitive, easy to use, and the ability to control all camera functions from your computer is a huge plus. And I like the little things where you can like morph your face, like your eyes or your cheekbones or your chin a little bit at a time with either filters or, you know, specifically those areas of your face. It really adds kind of a fun element to video calls and streams, which is something you don't really see on webcams, I feel like. And another thing I like is that the setup process is super easy. It's compatible with both Mac and Windows. I use it on my Mac Studio. And then also the fact that it has kind of a built-in gimbal control when you're zoomed in is really a nice feature. I initially thought this was only for their actual gimbaled webcams, which OBSBOT does have on their website, but I found that if you crop in with the Meet 2, you can move the camera around at will, which is nice because it also does it automatically with AI framing. And then being able to crop in and still maintain 1080p resolution is really nice for travel scenarios where you might need to remove some of what's going on in the background behind you, or if you just want to have some type of expressive face shot with your camera, you can then zoom in and not lose too much of your quality. Now, I do want to dive into the cons and touch on some things that I think that there could be some improvement on, but I will say there's really not a lot to complain about, and I had to get pretty nitpicky to actually find any issues. I will start by saying that the AI that blurs the background for bokeh could be a bit better. It struggles when you move too much, but to be fair, I do have a very busy background, which makes it really, really tough to accurately do that in real time. I think with good lighting and less clutter behind me, it should be fine, and this is something that can absolutely be improved with a software update. And also the next point can also be improved where the AI auto framing is good, but again, it can kind of struggle if you move too much or too fast because it's really just moving the image around on the sensor instead of being on an actual gimbal. So I do hope to see improvements on that because that doesn't actually relate to the device itself. I think they can just make it better through the programming. I did want to add something really quick to show that I think should be improved in the software for the Meet 2. If you're going to change it to portrait mode, then you have to go into the settings to do that. It's not just a quick like in the studio center here for you to be able to do that. So here you go into the settings, then you click portrait, and then it changes you to portrait mode, right? I'd like to be able to do that from the studio perspective. Now, one of the things that I definitely want to say is that if OBSBOT really wants to enhance the travel portion of this webcam, they need to include some type of carrying pouch. A nice little zippered, hard-sided carrying pouch from this would be a fantastic way to protect the lens while traveling. I'm not sure if OBSBOT plans to release one separately, but I don't even want it to be separate. I would love to see a carrying case automatically be included with it from purchase. As of right now, that does not come with it, but hopefully that's something that we'll see change in the future. But overall, I think the Meet 2 is an amazing camera. There's no doubt about it. But the real all-star here is probably the software that comes with it. Together, they provide a really, really great experience. I think the quality of the materials from the camera, the image quality, and then just how well it integrates into the software make it a really nice setup to have. There are some room for improvements that aren't really cons about it. For instance, I would like to see the option to maybe go fully wireless with an internal battery on future iterations because this camera just feels so much like a GoPro or a camera that you can take with you that I would like to be able to just pick it up and take it with me while filming. But overall, at $129, I do think that this is an excellent value, and I really recommend it for that price. You can spend a lot more money on 4K webcams that have less functionality and take up more space. But 129 bucks, I don't think is bad at all for this price. So definitely check out the link in the description if you're interested. They are affiliate links, so they do help my channel financially and help it grow. However, they do not cost you anything extra. But I do want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think the Meet 2 is actually worth the price or not? Or are there features that you wish it had that it doesn't? I would love to chat with you in the comments, and I'll be down there discussing it with you. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and joining the Freaky Tech family and hitting that like button because that really helps the channel grow and it makes the algorithm really like us. But thank you so much for stopping by and spending some of your day with me. Again, I'm Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews. I'll see you next time.